Hi guys, in this tutorial we will talk about stationed and scan behaviors. Stationed one is pretty simple, is the most primitive behavior that there is for this agent. And let's once again check his team ID is set to be 1, which makes him a friendly off player so that he wouldn't shoot us, so we would be able to test those non-combat behaviors. And let's open core AI behavior, and in non-combat behaviors we'll make sure it's stationary to showcase this simply as behavior. Let's push play and wait for the game to load up. And here we can see that the guy is performing head turns that we set up for him in a previous tutorial. And now let's enable scanning behavior and select scan from the default behaviors. That will enable scanning script, as you can see. Let's open the scanning script and let's reset it. So what the script does is that it makes this AI agent to be constantly turning during his idle behavior, during which he'll be performing the turns in a specified directions, and we can set him up to be aiming his weapon at some of those turns or constantly at each one of them. The first checkbox is stop head turns when aiming. We'll cover that and showcase it a bit later in this tutorial. Head IK script. To populate this field, just drag and drop a soldier model into that field and it will pick up that script. Let's also keep offset scan aim point checked. And let's expand the soldier in hierarchy and then expand the scan aim levels. And we'll take a stationary scan aim level and we'll populate the scan aim point field with it. Let's select soldier back again and drag that game object into this field. Next field is scan aim point offset. We have a set of sliders that will offset that point with each new turn AI agent will do. And the spine bone of that agent will be rotated to follow that aim point, and that allows us to set up different angles of that aim scanning according to the environment this agent is in. And his aimed scan probability is set to 50%, and the randomized scan turns we will keep unchecked for now. Next is scan turn directions list. Let's populate it. First one will leave to be forward, and let's set the min turn speed to be something like 0.9 and max to be 1. Min aim turn speed will be 0.4 and max to be something like 0.5. And now, as we have set up the first turn direction, we just add another one which will inherit those values, and we'll set it to be backward, and we'll do the same and set it to be right, and the last one to be the left. And because we have randomized scan turns checkbox unchecked, AI agent will perform those turns in a predefined sequence, looping through this list with each new cycle. And let's set the aimed scan probability value to be 0 by moving the slider all the way to the left, so we could observe the scanning behavior of this AI agent without any aiming happening throughout the scanning cycle. And let's set the min and max time between turns to be something like 3 and 5. And let's uncheck the stop head turns when aiming, and let's also uncheck offset scan aim point. And now let's go and test this scanning behavior with the chosen set of options. Let's push play and we'll see that the AI agent scanning his surroundings, his head turning the way we set up in a previous tutorial. Plus we have those turns being performed in the order they are arranged in this list, forward, backward, right and left. And now as we observe that, let's set up the soldier for aim scanning. And here we'll make the aim scan probability to be 100%, which will make the upper body of that soldier to perform this aiming animation assigned to him, whilst the lower body will still be performing those turns animations. And let's select the aiming point, which is a stationary aim scan level. And here we have the values for X and the Y at its current position. So those values we'll use for the minimum possible positions of that aim point. Here for the Y, we set it to be 1.367, and for the max we will set it to be something like 5. And that means this aim point will be moving randomly between those min and max values, thus making the agent to transition from the horizontal aim all the way up to match the position of that point. And now let's enable that point movement itself by checking this offset scan aim point checkbox. One thing we need to keep in mind that in the previous tutorial we set up the ability for this agent to perform the head turns, and here we're disabling this ability for the duration of aiming his weapon, because unless it is intended it will look weird when the guy will be aiming in one direction and turning his head in another direction. And let's set up the z-axis offset for this aim point. For the minimal value we'll take the current one and we'll paste it into the minimal field. And let's set up the max value to be 5, and shifting of that aim point along the z-axis between min and max value will be most noticeable the higher aiming angle we'll get. Min and max X shift will leave at 0 and 0 because it doesn't make sense in this situation, because it would force the guy to lean left and right, but the values are still there in case you'd want to experiment with those. So we're all set. Let's now push play. And here we can see this behavior. He's aiming up from the horizontal aiming to imitate how he'd be checking the roofs and top floors for any possible threats. Right now he's performing those turns in the way they are specified in the list, and there's no randomness to that, but there is randomness to the aiming point offset. With each new turn it's get offsetted between min and max values that were specified before. And if we check the position of that aim point, if we select it, you will be able to see now how it is getting offsetted with each new turn, forcing the agent to aim at that angle. And as you can see, the z-axis shift becomes the most prominent the higher the agent is aiming. So that was the demonstration of the constant aiming, and now we'll test this guy with the decreased probability of aiming, and we'll leave all the values to be the same, even the min x and max x values. The only thing we'll be changing here is the aim scan probability. And although we set the probability to be 50%, it doesn't necessarily mean that the aiming will happen every other turn. In fact, there is a possibility that it might or might not happen for few turns in a row. And let's enable randomized scan turns, which would make those turns to be random as well, and can lead to the similar effect like the one with the aiming randomization. Let's push play. First turn, no aiming. You see, second is aiming. third is aiming, and the fourth is aiming too, and now no aiming. So we just saw how the same choice can be made few times in a row, and you can tweak those values to minimize or maximize the probability of some of those options to take place, and to adjust them to fit your custom setting. So that's it for this one. See you in the next one. Cheers.